So to help personalize this, we wanted to put a name to our survivor and really explore her journey and her experience, so we can kind of empathize with our target user. So we named her Maria. We just wanted to pick a name that applies to a lot of women worldwide. So Maria in our story is a survivor of sexual violence. She was raped by her boyfriend, which we'll talk about why Isabel's already mentioned why it's important to remember that this isn't someone necessarily attacking you in the street, but it could be someone you know and love. And for us, Maria is someone who's 21 years old. She's a migrant. She's living in Paris, France with her boyfriend and child, but she's a migrant and she's not fluent in French yet. However, all of her local resources are in French. She's not a European citizen. She doesn't own a bank account and she doesn't have a job. She's completed some high school, but she never went to university. And most critically, she's far away from her friends and family of origin, and that is a real challenge for someone recovering from sexual violence. So you want to take a moment to think about, how does Maria feel? How does Maria feel post-sexual violence experience? And we imagine, based on our data and research and personal experiences, that she probably feels scared. She might also feel powerless, stuck, confused, overwhelmed, alone. She's isolated from people who might be able to help her, and she's disconnected from the resources that could also aid her. She probably has undiagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder, which means she could be suffering from a myriad of symptoms such as nightmares, panic attacks, and depression. She isn't sure how to describe what happened to her, which is something that we'll really touch on later on. But especially since the perpetrator is her boyfriend, sometimes that can make it really difficult for survivors to come forward because they know the person, and the people in their communities also know that person too. So Maria has a lot of questions. She doesn't know where to look for answers. Maybe she tries Googling it, but a lot of her local resources, all of that information is written in French. And we already said she's not fluent in French because she's a migrant. She just arrived in France. So this is where Maria's coming from. And from there, we'll think about how Backyard Dreams aims to educate and empower Maria. So let's hope that Maria finds out about the Athena mobile app. So Maria can use the app in her native language to create an attestation in French, and she can bring that report that it automatically generates for her to perhaps her local police officer to explain explicitly what happened to her without having to deal with the language barrier. Or maybe just recounting the experience is re-traumatizing for her, so she has this attestation that she can share with other people to help her learn how to describe what happened to her and get the help that she needs critically. So hopefully Athena, through the matching and localization features, finds her a safe home that will take care of her and her child. And we hope also too that the language in the app helps her feel comfortable and validated, that her experience was real and that this is something that has happened to so many women, and is not something that needs to be dismissed or overlooked. So another thing that Maria hopefully benefits from is that she receives a Backyard Dreams grant to cover her expenses so she can go to university and find better work opportunities. And this is really a long-term growth opportunity that we see for her, that education is the fundamental, most empowering tool for women to have. So we hope that this helps her eventually find a way to find her own means for support and become independent. And then for 3, our data-driven advocacy campaigns. Perhaps Maria is one of hundreds of migrant women who make use of the app and file a report, and that anonymous tracing is recorded in our app. And then we're able to submit those insights, and they are leveraged by lobbying groups to increase funding for migrant survivor resources in France, because they have that direct information and they have it fast and it's accurate and it's geographically linked. And finally, with the free online resource media library, maybe Maria, coping with her PTSD, she finds some of our trauma-sensitive videos to learn different coping techniques to help her heal at her own pace, in her own way, with whatever works best for her. And maybe she attends a free seminar with a therapist that gives her specific wellness resources that are tailored for victims of sexual violence. So now I'm really excited about this. You are the first people to get an inside look at our Athena app. Which Athena is an app providing localized resources for international sexual violence, education, recovery, and recourse. We'll do a demo in just a second, but just to highlight that We really want it to be inclusive of migrants, as we've been talking about, their intersectional needs and vulnerability. And the app will be always free, completely ad free as well, and anonymous and safe. We're going to really prioritize privacy and security, and it will be available for download via iOS and Android devices. So Jason is going to take the floor here, and he's going to walk you through a demo version of the app. So not at all a real version yet, but just an early stages idea of what this app will be able to do.
Cool. So this is Athena. We have a little video demo here. As Jess said, it's very much an initial prototype version, but hopefully you'll get the idea of what we're trying to do. So this is the home screen, and it shows the four kind of main features in the app, which are in the bottom tab, but we also put them as tiles here as part of our motivation to kind of make the app as safe and familiar for users as possible. So just making it really clear what these icons mean. So someone like Maria who comes in can be sure of what she's clicking on and feels very comfortable navigating around the app. You can see down the bottom there, it shows that the current country is set to France. The current language is set to English. Those are things Maria could have come in and set herself. If she wants to change that, you can go into settings, say, okay, I'm now in a different country. We'll leave it at France for now because that's where Maria is. So the app kind of, your language and your country underpin everything. So now if we start with the reporting tool, kind of the main tool within the app, the first page of it is just some intro text. Again, with all text in the app, very much aimed at being affirming and validating and safe for the user. So explaining, we're not going to do anything with this. This is totally anonymous. We're not going to publish it. We're not going to put it online or share it with anybody. And even if you don't want to do anything right now, it can be helpful to record what happened to you while the details are fresh in your memory, and just, yeah, kind of explaining that this tool helps to generate some kind of record that you can do whatever you want with. So when we click start new report, the first thing we get again is a pop-up affirming and validating someone like Maria to say, remember, you can stop this if it's triggering or you get uncomfortable, and no matter what, your experience is valid. So the reporting tool works by piecing together these questions that make it really easy for someone like Maria to just give yes, no, I don't know, just tick these boxes for answers, which takes a lot of the burden off, compared to giving someone just an empty page to write what happened to them. We can kind of handhold and guide users through this to make it as kind of painless as possible or as easy as possible. So some questions like, were there any witnesses present when the sexual violence occurred? Did you know the person or persons who harmed you prior to the incident or incidents? This hopefully, as we move through these questions, we piece together a better and better picture of what happened. We can ask, it's useful to know if someone has any identifying information. It doesn't mean they have to upload it to the app, but it's just good to know, yes, I have that. Should I be asked for it? And then the last question for this demo is just, are you under 18 years old? So on a full reporting tool, we would have a lot more questions than that and build up a lot more complete of a picture. For the sake of the demo, there's just 4 questions. So we'll click create report and we get this PDF created both in English, which is Maria's chosen language that she's comfortable with, and also in French, which is the language of France, where she said she's located. You can download both and save them to your phone, do whatever you want with them. And again, some messaging there to remind a user like Maria that this might be helpful to show to the police, social workers, medical professionals, etc., just as a useful resource. You can also create as many reports as you want. So if we want to go back to the start and do another one, that's totally possible. So this, you can basically use this on an ongoing basis should you need to. So the next part of the app is resources. Again, this is a very lightweight example of what might be in here, but local resources such as websites to help with anxiety and depression, or local women's shelters. So on a page like this, perhaps Maria has said, okay, I want mental health resources in Paris. And this is something that we found. And we can show it to her. She can open this within the app, navigate the website. This is part of the app that there's a lot of data we can put in here, and this will hopefully just keep growing forever, and it'll get more and more specific and more fleshed out the longer that the app is around. And yeah, as we expand into more countries, hopefully it'll become quite comprehensive. Move to the next part of the app, which is wellness. So in here, again, possibilities are kind of endless for this. It's a part of the app that can provide resources for your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. So things like guided meditations or exercises, just maybe literature that is helpful in guiding you about yoga or meditations, advice on how to do yoga as a survivor in a way that's not triggering and is safe. You can have a journal section, and then at the bottom we have a panic attack guide for maybe in a moment of being triggered or having a panic attack, something that can be a safe space or just a grounding exercise. For now, the one that we do have that we can kind of demo a little bit is a sample breathing exercise. So if we open this, what we see is just a very simple, hopefully calming animation and a guided breathing exercise in app. That's very simple, but can be really kind of a powerful grounding tool for general mental health. It's similar to the stuff you kind of see on like the Headspace app or your Apple Watch or whatever. This whole breathing exercise is like 4 minutes long, but it's not. We're going to stop it here in a minute, but we'll let it play so you get kind of a better idea. While this is going, actually, I might just take the opportunity to say that we're developing this app in React Native, which is kind of a techie term, but it basically means that we can use one code base to make an app for both Android and iOS. So that's part of our efficiency that John spoke about, being able to build stuff really fast. And then the last section of the app is the glossary. So again, some hopefully affirming, validating language at the top there to explain what the glossary is and why it's important to understand the specific meanings of all the terms surrounding sexual violence. And then some sample definitions, such as like, what even is sexual violence? How is it defined? Okay, that definition is confusing. What does that really mean? Maria might have questions like, is partner rape sexual violence? Does that count? Yes, it does. Okay, what does that mean? So again, this can be fleshed out with loads more helpful definitions and tailored to different users. And then back to the home screen. So yeah, that's kind of an overview of what we're trying to do with Athena, what it might look like.